Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Josie's Point of View, where we focus on human interest stories from the Carolinas and beyond. Today it's Sunday and it's October 20th, 2024. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, I want to thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you find the information here to be informative. And if you're a returning viewer, by all means, thank you for coming back. You know, I always say the tide changes so frequently on these YouTube streets. So you always have to acknowledge where your support comes from. And I want you to know I sincerely thank you for your support. Feel free to like and to share this video. And don't forget to subscribe. And our story today comes out of the Marine Corps Air Station, which is located at Cherry Point here in North Carolina. Take a look at the headline. And it reads, Trial and Conviction of a Marine Master Gunnery Sergeant. I'll provide you with a summary here, and I'll identify some of my sources for you in the description box. So this is my second video this month coming out of the Marine Corps Air Station at Cherry Point here in North Carolina, and it's definitely not good news. Now, in the first case, you might recall the focus was on a 25-year-old Marine who faced a civilian trial, and a jury found him guilty of numerous sexual abuse charges, and he is currently awaiting sentencing. And now this second video will focus on a military court-martial of a very distinguished military leader. And let me tell you, this is one embarrassing set of news for the Marine Corps and the military in general. So second video, similar set of discussions. I have to tell you, this case is just so sad, and the only way I can classify it is by calling it a fall from grace. A very prominent Marine leader who has gone from the very top to now the very bottom. I could not understand why this case was never discussed in my era, and I find that rather interesting that nobody has been talking about it. But we are going to approach this story using factual information obtained from the public domain and from credible sources. And again, we're addressing the recent military court-martial on conviction of a senior enlisted Marine, a gunnery master sergeant, who was convicted of these horrible crimes against children and his children within his household. And for those of you who may not know or understand the enlisted military structure for the Marines, I want to show you where a master gunnery sergeant falls, and it's right here. It's an E9. And there are only two other ranks higher than this within the entire Marine Corps enlisted structure. There are only two ranks that are higher than that master gunnery sergeant. So this was one of your senior enlisted Marine responsible for directing the activities of subordinates on the base. And our focus today is on Master Gunnery Sergeant William B. Ellington, a 25-year combat veteran still on active duty, assigned to the Marine Corps Station at Cherry Point. I don't know his age, and I don't know all of the Marine organizations, but I do know he was assigned to the 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing, which is part of the 14th Marine Aircraft Group at Cherry Point. And let me say this up front. Master Gunnery Sergeant he held a distinguished career in the Marine Corps. His name is associated with Marine enlisted leadership and distinction. Now, I have his photo, but I'm electing not to show it because no other organizations have done so, and I don't feel I should be the first. But then again, Master Gunnery Sergeant is well known and he was well respected. I read one source to describe him as a seasoned and well respected leader with a remarkable career and a legacy etched in bravery, and that he had made significant contributions during his service. They said his service is grounded in courage and bravery. They say his name is entwined with Marine Corps history. I do know he had 4 combat deployments to Iraq and 1 to Afghanistan. And I saw a description of his bravery in an article, and there's a summary that cites September of 2012 in Benghazi, where he was part of the task force, the initial task force that rushed into a building in response to a set of some chaos where 30 people were trapped. They say with a rifle strapped on his back, he waded through the chaos, carried a man on his back while under enemy fire, helped others get back into the fight, and that he saved numerous lives. And because of his bravery that day, he was awarded the Navy Cross. But those are the good things about him, and it's important to put that up front. So now let's go ahead with the rest of our story. And the real focus of our conversation today is the fact that Master Gunnery Sergeant Ellington was recently tried and convicted by a general court martial. He was convicted of several child sex crimes, and as a result of that conviction, he was sentenced to considerable amount of time behind bars. And this is what I was able to obtain from the charge sheet, which is the DD Form 458. And it appears that Gunnery Master Sergeant Ellington had been in pretrial confinements since November the 7th of 2023, and this is what got him there. It appears he had been accused of sexually abusing 2 minors in his household, and this abuse had been ongoing for several years, dating back to 2019 and continued for over a 4-year period. It appears the 2 minors had shared this information with an older sibling, and in the midst of a lot of family drama, which I'm not going to get into, but in the midst of another family drama, the older siblings share that information with the right people who got the authorities involved. So now let's take a look at some of the evidence. It appears that once the authorities got involved, an investigation was launched, but there were a few agencies that were involved at the time. And keep in mind that I'm reading through a lot of redacted stuff. A lot of information had been blacked out. But anyway, it appears that Gunnery Sergeant Ellington left a note allegedly confessing to some type of offenses that are related to the case. I'm not sure exactly what it is because, again, it was blacked out. But I can tell you this. It says that the following day he was found in a vehicle with something that apparently was significant to the case again, and then he was apprehended and taken into custody and taken to a hospital for evaluation, and he's been in custody ever since that. And I'm sure you're probably wondering, well, why did he have to be taken to a hospital for evaluation? Well, I can't say for sure, but I can definitely make some assumptions, but based on what I read. So here's what I think. We know he left a letter of confession. That was written in some of the narrative. Okay. They found him in his car with something. Was it a GUN? I don't know. I'm guessing. And considering the charges, if they were true, maybe, just maybe, he was trying to end it all, and that's why they had to take him to a hospital for evaluation. And since these are just assumptions, I don't know them to be factual, I have to say allegedly. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the charges. Now, there were 4 specifications, and I'm not going to be real specific. There were 4 specifications of 4 major charges. There were 2 counts of RAPE of a child who had not attained the age of 12. And then there were 2 counts, additional counts, of sexual assault of a child who had not attained the age of 16. Now, the charges are very much detailed. I am choosing not to go into them because I don't think it's relevant, plus for privacy issues. So you have those 4 charges of sexual assault, and then later on there were some additional charges relating to obstruction of justice. Apparently there had been restraining orders imposed, and the Master Gunnery Sergeant had been given specific directive that he was not supposed to contact certain individuals, and he did violate the core concept or that restraining order. He did went ahead and he did either attempted to or did make contact with the individuals in question. And on July the 1st, 2024, at the Marine Corps Air Station at Cherry Point in the courtroom on the base, Master Gunnery Sergeant Ellington went before a general court-martial to face those 5 charges, and specifically, he was found guilty of the first two specifications of RAP of a child who had not attained the age of 12. It appears that he had entered a plea of guilty, and the judge then adjudicated him as guilty. And the judge did impose the following sentence: a minimum of 9, a maximum of 12 years in prison, so that's 9 to 12 years, forfeiture of all pay and all benefits, so reduction in grade to E1. So he went from this right here, Master Gunnery Sergeant E9, to this right here, a private E1, and he was also given a dishonorable discharge. Also, because he had been in confinement since 7 November 2023, he was given credit to 237 days that he had already served. And this is exactly what I was referring to in the beginning when I said it's a fall from grace. You have a very influential Marine enlisted leader going from the top of his game all the way to the very bottom. All those memorable contributions to the military, all those awards and decoration, they will no longer be the center of focus when his name is mentioned, because when people speak of him going forward, he will forever be referred to as the once Master Gunnery Sergeant who is now a private and who is serving a 9-year prison term for child sexual abuse. And when he is released from prison, I'm sure he'll have to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. And initially, as I began researching this case, there was no information coming up. But the more I continued to search and search, suddenly AI, which is now a component on Google, began to provide me with bits and pieces. And here is one of the bits and pieces that I want to share with you. It says, Master Gunnery Sergeant W.B. Ellington found himself at the center of a legal storm. Picture this: a courtroom on Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point, the air thick with anticipation. The charges: 2 specifications of RAPE of a child who had not attained the age of 12 years. A grave matter indeed. And the verdict? Guilty. The military judge didn't mince words. 9 years of confinement, total forfeitures, a demotion to the lowly rank of E1, and a dishonorable discharge. A somber fate for a man who once wore the stripes of a Master Gunnery Sergeant. And here's another segment from that AI summary report, and I thought it's a perfect place for me to end this video. And it reads, so there you have it, a glimpse into the life of Gunnery Sergeant William B. Ellington, a man whose choices led him down a path of consequence. And as we ponder this, let's also remember that the Marine Corps, like any family, grapples with its own trials and tribulation. Nothing left to say. I think this is a perfect place for us to end. And that's all I have for you right now, but feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about this video, and by all means feel free to like it and to share it. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel by clicking on that red subscribe button. It's on the bottom right hand corner of your screen. And if you click on the bell that looks like just like this one, that's the notification bell. If you click on that notification bell, you'll be the first to know whenever a new video is uploaded. I thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.